based upon election results is very risky and unpredictable, as we all know, but to what extent technocratic alternative may be relevant in this respect. Actually, if we have a look on global experience of governance, of course, most of policy reforms from early modern history up until now were technocratic. But the paradox that in contemporary world, technocratic reforms are rarely successful. Well, there are some exceptions which prove the rule, but by and large, this technocratically driven approach was a side effect of political confrontation since the times of the Cold War. So let's see how it works in post-Soviet Eurasia, not only in Russia. The same may be relevant for other post-Soviet countries. And my argument that technocratic model of policy making faced with numerous obstacles. First and foremost, technocrats who appointed to government or who advised the government faced with a strong resistance from two powerful groups of players. Interest groups of rent seekers and entrenched bureaucrats, and they often served as formal or informal veto players. Second, that technocrats who are somehow insulated from public opinion, and there is no way to affect policy via voting results, at least directly, they are limited because they are unable to build broad coalition of pro-reform policies. And actually, the major source of their support is politically driven endorsement of political leaders who may have certain interests in promotion of some policies and policy changes. But the problem is that actually they can't propose policy reforms elsewhere and mostly concentrated on certain policy areas at the expense of others. Why actually political leaders need policy reforms? On the one hand, there is a response to domestic and international challenges, and they need well-qualified experts. And they often give certain autonomy to technocrats, and they can't avoid having technocrats in power just because of need of some sort of foolproofing, if you wish. Yet there are ongoing principal-agent problems in relationships between political leaders and technocrats, especially in conditions of authoritarian regimes with all of these information problems. But in the end, it sounds like technocratic policy reformers faced with a trap. Their role in policymaking may diminish over time, their areas of influence shrink, and policy programs may be less and less relevant. There was an excellent comparison of two major policy programs initiated by Russia's government in 2000 and in 2012, respectively, and they were implemented first on less than 40% and the second on less than 30%. So there is a decline over time. And also, there is a dependency upon regime type cycles, as Henry Hale outlined it in his recent book, because of dependency of regimes upon election results. Also, because of weakness of state apparatus, there is limited control of policy makers over bureaucracy. And of course, rent-seeking interests, privatization of gains and socialization of losses are also always in place. So the paradox that there are policy reformers who intended to take everything under control, and this lead to the rise of spiral of over-regulation, and it make the situation sometimes worse, even under conditions of full political support. Okay. Yet, political support of technocratic reformers is unsustainable. It could be changed over time because of changing priorities of political leaders, like it happens in Russia after the annexation of Crimea. And this is why policy reforms under technocratic mode are very fragile and unsustainable. And actually, the chief ideologies of this technocratic reform may be an example of being a victim of his own prediction. What happens? In fact, in case of privatization of stake of Bashneft, where Ulukhaev was accused in bribery, was exactly the case of decision-making depend upon knowledge and expertise, but not upon voting results. The problem was that knowledge and expertise was not those of Ulukhaev or his fellow friends technocrats, but rather of those of rent seekers. And then there is a question on which I have no answer. To what extent technocratic medicine may be worse than the disease?